Hello, welcome to day 10 of A Thread of Hope, walking the footsteps of Jesus in the Old Testament. So I have to tell you, we're to Leviticus, and Leviticus is hard. It's just a hard book. There are a lot of rules and regulations and laws, and they are sometimes minute and they're important. And so I thought it would be way cool to do a little wrap to help you understand how Jesus was woven through it. We're not going to do that because A, I have zero wrapping ability. B, my wrapping came out very similar to Staying Alive, and that's disco, so it was just all bad. So I'm going to spare you that and just get into Leviticus, and we will just do it we'll just do it as God wrote it. And there's a lot there. We are not going to get into the minutia because if we did, it could take forever. But we are just going to talk a little bit about God, how Jesus is woven all through Leviticus. So we started with Genesis, and Genesis tells the story of man's fall and then the promise of redemption. And then we move into Exodus, which is where God begins his redemption plan. And now we're in Leviticus, and God is giving instruction to the Israelites on how to develop a relationship with him. So Leviticus starts right where Exodus left off, and that is with Moses, with God instructing Moses at the tabernacle. So we're still at the tabernacle. Israel has been delivered from Egypt, from Pharaoh, from the slave masters that were there and treated them so badly. But now they are going to find that they are fighting a bondage that is much more dire than even Egypt was. And that bondage is sin. And so what God is trying to tell them is you cannot be of the world and in a relationship with God. You can't do both. And Luke tells us in chapter 16, verse 13, no one can serve two masters. He will either hate one and love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. So God is beginning the process of showing them how to atone for their sins and enter into his presence. And the very first step is to set Israel apart. Leviticus is the instruction manual on telling them how they are a very special and holy nation. Leviticus 10, chapter 10, verses 10 and 11 give us a really good idea of what the gist of Leviticus is. And that is, you are to distinguish between the holy and the common, between the unclean and the clean. So you can teach the Israelite all the decrees the Lord has given them through Moses. Throughout the book of Leviticus, God is saying, be holy, for I am holy. Be holy, for I am holy. You be holy, for I am holy. They need to be different than the rest of the world to be holy. And to do that, there are a ton of rules, ceremonies, festivals, offerings, laws, regulations, you name it, it's in Leviticus. More than you can imagine. So this is where the scarlet thread continues, showing us a foreshadowing of Jesus in many ways, through the law, through the festivals, through ceremonies and offerings and rules and regulations. The first part of Leviticus shows us how to approach God and access him, their holy God. This is done through some very specific methods of sacrifice. And there are different sacrifices for different things. Methods that must be repeated though, daily, quarterly, yearly, biannually. It's never forever. There always has to be redone because it doesn't take away the sin. So it's a constant sacrificing of animals. Then the second part walks them through the process of how to maintain a relationship with God. And that's what it's all about. God made the world and he made man because he wanted a relationship with them, with us. And then man, blew that out of the water. And so he has spent all of these years, thousands of years, putting his redemption plan into place. And he knew right away what it was going to be. He was not making it up as he goes along. And so he's showing them through laws on cleanliness and regulations of holiness and religious feasts how they can be close, how they can maintain a relationship with him. Within all of these rules and regulations and laws, there's Jesus. This is a foreshadowing of what Jesus is coming to do. Everything in this book is leading up to Jesus. When he comes, we don't need to sacrifice every day or every month or every quarter or every year. One time is all he needed. The sacrifices always had to be without blemish. And some of them had to be with a firstborn. So that is Jesus. In all the rules of clean and unclean, he was pure. He was blameless. He did not sin. He was clean and purified. So he could offer a one-time atonement, a final time atonement of what we need. The festivals have all kinds of ways that they are foreshadowing Jesus. All of this, if you read in Leviticus, all of it is a foreshadowing of Jesus. And you can see as you read it, knowing what we know, how that works. Leviticus also had priests that the importance of the priest was they were a mediator between the people and God. They were the access to God that Israel needed, foreshadowing Jesus, who gives us the access, which is part of the redemption plan. And it's with access for all time, for Israel, for us, for all. You guys, Leviticus is hard. But when you start to see that thread of Jesus woven through it, it becomes a beautiful story, a beautiful part of the story. You think that in all of the rules and the regulations, and I will tell you, there's some funny rules in some funny laws that will make you laugh. I mean, I've had to look things up. I'm like, that can't mean that. They do. And there's just some funny stuff in there. So if you get a chance, look through it. Leviticus is hard. I am not going to lie to you, but it is worth it. Jesus was the perfect sacrifice. Everything that's in a Leviticus, Jesus fit that. He was the final piece of that. He was the culmination of all of those rules and regulations and laws. He was perfect, and he only had to die one time, one person, one time, to fulfill all of those things that are in the Old Testament. If you get a chance, I encourage you to read Hebrews 10, 1 through 18. It is a great place to go to understand his sacrifice, how it fulfilled the law, and why it only had to happen one time. So Sunday, we will have our meditation. And on Monday, we're going into numbers. Woo-woo. And I promise I'm not going to rap, because that would just be bad. It's bad, let me just tell you. So until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you on Sunday.